All right, happy Friday, guys. We have three regular season NBA slates left to go. I hear I'm seeing some chat about Rajon Rondo. All I'm saying, guys, is be careful with the veterans in that game. Be careful. Him, Marcus Morris, Batum. I'm not confident they play full minutes here. They're already resting guys. So that's kind of a hint of, how this slate is going to go. I think we can leave some salary on the table. I want to be focusing on the teams that have something to play for, which is not much. And then value, I want to focus more on like the younger guys, the teams that are short, rotations. So, let's get into what we know so far. There's a ton. So bear with me as I go through this. Kleber ruled out means absolutely nothing to me. Cam Reynolds will play for the rest of the year for the Rockets. That's still an 8-man rotation. Gordon, Campazzo, Millsap, all resting for the Nuggets. Jokic is playing. What I'm worried about here is, does Jokic play full minutes? I'm not convinced about that either. They're already resting a lot of their main guys. They rested MPJ the day before. I'm a little bit hesitant with a guy like Nikola Jokic. Embiid probable. Again, it's the Magic. Does he play full minutes, right? I'm not confident about that. Let's see. What else? Kevin Love ruled out. Some of this stuff is for tomorrow. All the main Raptors guys are out. Watanabe and Jalen Harris are out too. So it's going to be an 8-man rotation. Monitor their starting lineup. If Boucher and Gary Trent start, I think they do. I think they get pretty big minutes here. I do. So I'm actually fine going to either of them after they burned a lot of people last night. Kyrie Thomas will play. The Grizzlies, again, they don't have anything to play for. They are resting basically everyone. JV, Ja, Triple J, Brooks, Clark, Slow-Mo, all out. Kawhi, Paul George, Ibaka questionable, Man out, Beverly out, Reggie Jackson doubtful, Amir Coffey out. Let's see, Steph Curry, Wiggins, and Draymond out for Golden State. Looks like Neto's not going to play because Bertans, I'm pretty sure he just got ruled out. Holmes is out, Bagley is doubtful, Barnes doubtful. Again, don't expect them to play. Neto ruled out, yep. Wizards are starting Westbrook and then a bunch of scrubs like usual. We'll get to that, but that is where we're at right now. I think all the stuff that just came in is for Saturday. All right, so taking a look at the Vegas odds, that Cleveland-Washington game's pushing 230. Let's see, what else is on the higher side? Not a ton. Sacramento-Memphis also, 225. Those are the two highest on the board at the moment. All right, so again, guys, this is going to be kind of like a preseason slate. I think you got to be careful with some of the veterans and some of the teams that, guys are playing, but I'm not convinced they play full minutes. So you can definitely leave some salary on the table here, and it should be fun. I'm excited. I think there's a bigger edge to this slate than there is to most. Even though the variance is going to increase, I think there's a lot bigger edge here. So we'll start off with Cleveland. We're still waiting on Darius Garland and Cedi Osman news. They are both questionable. If they're both in, I don't think there's much I love here, even in a good matchup. If they're both out, I'm finding it to either Sexton or Jarrett Allen at the top. Both should play, Sexton probably plays 38 minutes. Jarrett Allen probably 30 to 35. Again, really good matchup. So if you want to take a shot on Sexton or Jarrett Allen, I think they'll be lower owned, but I could see them paying off their salaries. Okoro's priced up. I just think I would rather get to other plays. I know he's been decent last couple games. I know he will take a bigger bump usage if there's no Cedi and Garland, but I just don't think I want to go there at that price. Kind of same with Dean Wade. I just think there's better value on the board than going to a guy Dean Wade. I know he went for 45 the last game, but there's just teams that are a lot more shorthanded. Even though the Cavs will probably still run a tighter rotation, I just think I would rather get to other guys I feel a little more confident in. So I don't think I'm going to touch much of the Cleveland bench guys. And if Osman and Garland are in, I'm probably staying away from the Cavs. On the Wizards side, it's basically just Westbrook for me. I think Westbrook is the clear spend up. He's a guy that they still have something to play for. So you just play Westbrook. Right? Don't get cute here. There's infinite value. I don't see how you're getting away from Russ Westbrook. Even if he goes for 56 today, he's probably still going to be a must because raw points matter. Salary doesn't really matter on the slate. So I'm just not even thinking. You don't think twice. You just plug in Westbrook. The rest of the Wizards, I have a hard time getting to any of these guys because there's just way more shorthanded teams that I actually trust the rotations and don't have to deal with an idiot coach like Scott Brooks. So, no, I'm not going to deal with the headache of Rui because he probably only plays like 25 to 30 minutes. I don't really care that Neto's out and Bertans is starting. He could actually play less minutes because, again, his coach. So, it's just a situation where Yeah, maybe one of these guys get there. I don't think it's worth the risk. There's teams we'll get to later on in the slate that are just way more shorthanded, so I'm just not even dealing with that. Denver and Detroit. So this is an interesting one here, guys, because, again, Barton out, Campozo, Gordon, Millsap all resting, Dozier still out. I just don't know. I don't know what they're like. Detroit. I don't know about Jokic's minutes. I'm a little bit worried here. Again, raw points do matter. I could see this being a game where he maybe only plays the first half. I don't want to scare people off Jokic. I just want to say, I think that is a possibility. I think you just got to, consider that. Like, with Westbrook, I have no worries. Westbrook's the star, the one star I feel confident in. The rest of these stars, I think there's risks with all these guys, being Jokic, Embiid, Luka. So I do like Jokic, but will he get 35 minutes today? Not convinced about it. So that's a little bit of a tricky one. MPJ at 8-7. Again, playable. If you're confident that MPJ and Jokic play their full minutes, then I think you can for sure go there. Value for Denver. We'll see what they do with the starting lineup. We'll see. They still have a good amount of guys they can use. They still have, I think over 10 guys. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so I think the only value guy I would consider here is JaVale McGee if he starts. And it's just because McGee's a phenomenal point per minute guy. So I think that's the only really value guy I would consider. Again, monitor the starting lineup there for Denver. Real quick, guys, if you could, leave a like button. That would help me out a ton. All right, so we are at 214 viewers and 40 likes. Detroit, we're still waiting on Diallo news. If Diallo's out, they're going to have an 8-man rotation. Saddiq Bey at that price, yes, he'll play the minutes. I just prefer... I think there's a few other guys in this range I'd rather get to. If Boucher starts, I'd rather play a guy like Chris Boucher over Saddiq Bey. I just much more confident. Saddiq Bey or Boucher is a much better point per minute guy, and I think they play similar minutes if Boucher starts. Josh Jackson, at that price, I'm a little bit worried after he only played 24 minutes the last game, so probably not going to go there. I think Killian Hayes is firmly in play, and prices matter a ton. He'll play big minutes. He's a guy that's played well the last couple games. Sekou, not as much. I'm probably not going to go there. Diallo, if he does play and start, I like him because, again, he's a good point per minute guy. If he misses, then it's going to be 8-man rotation. And then we can look to a guy like Saban Lee, who probably plays a lot at the 2 and the 1. I think he plays over 30 minutes. Would like him for value. And the front court should be Jahlil Okafor and Tyler Cook. I would guess Okafor starts. If he does start, I have some interest there. Again, what you got to worry about is foul trouble against Nikola Jokic. But both bigs for Detroit are firmly in play here. All right, Orlando and Philly, I'll make this really simple. Absolutely zero interest in Orlando. If you play anyone in the Magic, just light money on fire. All right, the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid, most likely playing here. Again, though, will he get the full minutes? He only played 25. Again, they kind of got blown out last game. I mean, you can go there. I don't really feel great about the minutes. Sorry, voice cracked a little bit. And yeah, that's it. So this game in general, I am pretty much crossing off. Utah and OKC. On the Utah side, I have no interest in anyone. No confidence this game stays close. Mike Conley might be back too. Upgraded to probable, most likely in. Everyone else priced up from when Conley is out. Just a complete cross-off for me. Same thing with Oklahoma City. I'm not dealing with a 10, 11-man rotation here. There's teams that are way more shorthanded. There's absolutely no way. Orlando, Philly, Utah, OKC, just cross those 2 games off the slate. Make it a 6-game slate. All right, now we're getting to some more interesting games here as we close out, round it out. So Toronto and Dallas. Toronto's going to have an 8-man rotation, most likely. Watanabe, Jalen Harris, most likely not playing. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bodies. 8 bodies. Kem Birch, no interest at that price. Chris Boucher, if Chris Boucher plays, if he starts, I actually like him a good amount here. Recency bias, people are going to be pissed. He was about 20% owned in the higher dollar stuff last slate. I think if he starts, he gets normal minutes of 35, and we know he's a great point per minute guy, and they're so thin that he probably has to play the big minutes. So I actually do like Chris Boucher here a good amount. I think people will be hesitant to go there after the last game where he didn't start and did not play. But again, if he starts, I think he gets pretty big minutes. Gary Trent Jr. is fine. Again, though, he's just got to hit his shots. He'll probably shoot the ball 30 times. Malachi Flynn played over 40 minutes. I think he's a fair play. Not the best point per minute guy, but he's probably not going to kill you. And then value. So Stanley Johnson, I think, is going to be very popular here after the big 65 fantasy point game kind of out of nowhere. Be careful here. All I'm saying is be careful with the ownership, right? I think he's going to be over-owned. There's so much value here that if Stanley's going to be the chalk spend down, I'm good going elsewhere. There's unlimited value. And we have Boucher and Gary Trent most likely playing in this one. They're higher usage guys, so Stanley will take a back seat. All I'm saying with Stanley Johnson, I think he's firmly in play for value because he's going to play big minutes, but I think he's going to be over-owned in this slate. And for that reason, I personally am probably going to fade in GPPs. Gillespie at 3.9, he played over 30 minutes, viable. But again, you can make the argument basically for everyone besides Baines. I don't think I get to Baines because he only played 20 minutes. I just don't think they really want to play him a ton, right? They're going to want to focus more on the younger guys. So basically crossing off Baines, but everyone else is in play. Probably my favorite if he starts is Chris Boucher on this one. On the Dallas side, so it's Luka, and that is it. Absolutely no one else I'm even considering for Dallas. So Luka Doncic. Are you confident the Raptors can keep it close? I think he plays full minutes if they do. So I would say I think Luka is my second favorite star, but there's still risk, right? Because there's the blowout risk you got to take into consideration now because the Raptors are, awful. So what is this? A 14-point spread. 14-point spread. So there's a good chance Luka only plays 3 quarters here, but I would rank him behind Westbrook, I think, is my second favorite star on the slate. Again, if you target anyone else here on Dallas, just get your shovel and put that money into the fire. You should not be targeting anyone else here. All right, Clippers and Rockets. So on the LA Clippers side, Paul George, Kawhi, out. Reggie, Mann, Beverly, all out. I'm worried here. This is a spot I'm hesitant for the veterans. I don't know what the Clippers are going to do here. I'm worried with guys like Marcus Morris. I'm worried with Rondo. I'm worried with Batum. I am not sure they get full minutes here. So be careful. Let's just say this. If I knew Marcus Morris and Rajon Rondo were going to play 30 plus minutes in this game, I would really like both. I'm not convinced they're going to get those minutes. I think this is a game they take it easy on the veterans. They're already resting a lot of guys. I think they want to focus more on the younger guys. So I'm not saying Marcus Morris, Rondo, Batum are out of play. All I'm saying is you got to be a little bit careful here. And if you play them, you got to know that's a risk that they might play limited minutes. So for me, I'm not going to go there. There's enough value with teams that are super short-handed I feel better about. So I'm going to avoid the veterans here on the Clippers. Like Rondo, if he starts, obviously I do have some interest, but I'm just like, I don't know if he's going to play big minutes. So I'm personally going to steer clear of the veterans. The guy that really stands out to me is Luke Kennard, assuming he starts. Like I think he's the guy that's going to play the big minutes, right? I know he's kind of been out of the rotation, but when they've been, when they've been resting a lot of guys, Luke Kennard usually starts and plays huge minutes. He'll get a ton of shot attempts up. I think this is a good matchup. I think he's going to play all the minutes he can handle. I think he plays 35 minutes. So Luke Kennard, I think, is my favorite Clipper because I'm the most confident in his minutes. Let's see. I think the boogeyman is at least playable here because he's such a good point per minute guy. The only issue is Serge Ibaka might be back and he might play a little bit. So they might have 3 bigs in Ibaka, Zubac, and then Boogie. So like that is the risk. But like if I knew Boogie Cousins was gonna play let's just say I would rather have 20 minutes out of DeMarcus Cousins over 35 minutes out of most of the other value on the slate. And it's just because he's such a good point per minute guy. So worth a look in large field tournaments, and not something I feel good about for higher dollar single entry stuff. And then last guy I mentioned is Yogi Ferrell, young guy or younger guy, I guess. If he doesn't start, I don't think I can go there. If he starts, I think he'll probably play big minutes. So again, keep an eye on the starting lineup, but I'm just a little bit worried here about this Clippers team and with the veterans, and maybe they play limited minutes or not at all. So moving on to Houston, they should have an 8-man rotation here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jeffries got waived. 6, 7, 8. And a guy like DJ Augustin and Kelly Olynyk probably aren't going to play big minutes. I think we probably get around 25 for both. So Augustine, I'm probably going to pass on. So we'll start here at the bottom and Cam Oliver at 3-2. I think he plays 20 to 25 minutes. He's been a solid point per minute guy. At close to the flat min price, I think he's firmly in play. Anthony Lamb had that one awful game where he's popular, but I think he's going to have to play big minutes here. Should get mid-30s minutes. Definitely playable. Again, Jeffrey's got waived, so don't play him. Armani Brooks, he probably plays over 30 minutes. He's been playing decently well here. I think he's a value guy I feel confident in for minutes. Kyrie Thomas as well. These guys, I feel confident they're going to play big minutes. They're young. The Rockets have nothing to play for. They're not going to go to the veterans. They're going to go to more of these younger guys. So Kyrie Thomas, Armani Brooks, I think are two very safe plays in the mid-range. Jae'Sean Tate is... he's a rookie, but they're taking it a little bit easy on his minutes, so I'm probably not going to go there in this slate. So really, Olynyk, Tate, and Augustine are the guys I'm worried about. Now, can you take a shot in Kelly Olynyk for tournaments? Sure. If I knew he's going to play over 30 minutes, I would like him a good amount. The issue is he only played 25 the last game. He's been a phenomenal point per minute guy, absolutely smashing in, below 30 minutes last 3 games. But it just, he might not play a ton, so that's the worry. And then KJ Martin, I think, is a really safe play here. I think people might, overlook him, but he's going to play 40 minutes. He's been phenomenal. Again, so I'm confident in guys like KJ Martin. I'm confident in Kyrie Thomas. I'm confident in Armani Brooks. I'm confident in Lamb and even Oliver for value. Right? These are guys who are going to play the big minutes. So I'm pretty high in this Houston team. I think, again, 8-man rotation, and the veterans aren't going to play a ton. So lot to like there. All right, Sacramento-Memphis. Another game I think looks really, really good. Real quick, though, I'll ask one more time, guys. We're at 300 viewers and 70 likes. If you're coming in, leave a like button. Let's try to reach 100 before the end of the show. There's really a dude on the Clippers called Scrub. Yeah, there is. There actually is. That's crazy. But, all right, so Sacramento. Again, Fox, Barnes, Holmes, Bagley, all out. DeLon Wright at 8-2 is my favorite spend up for the Kings. I think he plays normal minutes. He should play 35 in a close game, up-tempo matchup. I do think DeLon Wright's a good play that will go overlooked. I think the chalk build is going to be Westbrook plus one more star. But don't, forget about a couple of these guys in the mid-range. I don't think there's a reason DeLon Wright gets limited minutes here. So I think DeLon Wright's a pretty solid play. A little bit worried about Buddy Hield's minutes. I'm probably not going to go there. Terrence Davis out the bench, certainly doable. Should play about 30 minutes, getting a ton of shot attempts up. Whiteside probably gets another DNP. Harkless, a little bit worried after those last minutes, 29. I think I'd rather get to the younger guy like Metu at 4-3, who played 34 minutes. I think he looks like a pretty solid value play with no Holmes. He might play a little bit of the 5-2. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. I like me some Metu for value. And I like Damian Jones if he starts. Not the best point per minute guy, but someone that if he starts probably plays about 30 minutes. So Jones, Metu for value. I will mention Justin James randomly just went off last game for 40 plus fantasy points. Don't really trust it. I think I feel more confident with some other value plays. They might dust off some of these end of the bench guys like Lewis King or Jameis Ramsey, but no one I have interest in there. All right, Memphis. So Memphis is going to be a 9-man rotation. So again, all the main guys out. So we got, Bane 1, Tillman 2, Melton 3, Conchar 4, Porter 5, Jones 6, Killy 7, Frazier 8, Winslow 9. So starting at Desmond Bane at 4.5K. I think he's firmly in play for value, but I would rank him behind a couple other guys here for the Grizzlies. So let's start with a few of my favorite plays in the slate. One being Xavier Tillman at 4.2. Phenomenal matchup. I think he starts. I think he plays 30 to 35 minutes. I really like Xavier Tillman here for value. One of my favorite value plays of the slate. Also, DeAnthony Melton, a phenomenal point per minute guy. We've seen some big games from him in limited minutes. This is a game I think he starts and probably plays, assuming he starts, about 30 minutes. I really like DeAnthony Melton for value. And then Tyus Jones, another good point per minute guy that really hasn't been playing a ton. I think he starts and plays big minutes. So Jones, Melton, Tillman, really like all three. I think 3 are the best plays of the slate. Bane, right behind those guys, I would say. And then the rest are all more contrarian plays and guys like Conchar, Porter, Tilly, Frazier, Justice Winslow. Secondary options for me. The other guys I do prefer that I just mentioned. All right, New Orleans, Golden State, last game here. Then we'll get to questions. I don't expect Ingram to play. A little bit worried here with some of the veterans for the Pelicans, right? So a guy like Eric Bledsoe, a guy like James Johnson, absolutely nothing to play for. I'm not convinced they get normal minutes here. I think they could get limited. I'm going to avoid the veterans here. The guy I do feel confident in is NAW. I think he'll be low owned after an awful game last game, but he did play 35 minutes. We know he's a guy that has upside, and if he plays 35 again, especially with maybe some of the other veterans resting, I think he could have a sneaky good game at super low ownership. So I do like NAW. With Hernan Gomez versus Hayes, I prefer Hernan Gomez, a slightly better point per minute guy, but doesn't really stand out that price. Najee Marshall's fine. I think I just prefer other, value for cheaper. And then I will mention Keir Lewis, right? If you're confident that Bledsoe and James Johnson barely play, then you can take a dart and Kier Lewis will be low owned. But that is where I'm at for the Pelicans. All right, finishing up with the Golden State Warriors. So got all the main guys out. I think, how many healthy bodies are going to have? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mulder's questionable. Jordan Bell, I think, is going to play. Should be available. So maybe that'll be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 if Mulder's out. So I guess 8 to 10, right? If Mulder and Bell are both out, then it's 8-man rotation. If Mulder and Bell are both in, it's a 10-man rotation. I'll start with Bazemore, veteran. A little worried he could get limited. I'm a little bit worried about Bazemore. He's a good point per minute guy. Kind of like the Clippers, though. Do we get full run from Bazemore? I'm not convinced about it. I think it's possible. But this is one I'm a little bit hesitant with Kent Bazemore. Now, Juan Toscano-Anderson, young guy, not super worried about his minutes. I think he plays 30-ish minutes. I think he's a really solid play at that price. A guy can stuff a stat sheet. Jordan Poole at 4-1, one of my favorite value plays. I think he starts and plays huge minutes. He's a guy that is a good shooter and can light it up. We saw, when Golden State was pretty banged up early in the year, he had some good games. So I like Jordan Poole a lot for value. And then Looney, I'm not going to get to. His role doesn't change much. I will mention Jordan Bell. He actually is a really good point per minute guy. A guy can block some shots, get the peripheral stats. I think I can only take the shot on him if he starts. But if he does start, I actually wouldn't mind going to him because, again, he is. I'm sure like a lot of new DFS players don't know a lot about Jordan Bell. But, in his earlier stint with Golden State, remember like when Golden State would be a little bit banged up a few years ago, he would come in. He was actually like a really good value. He's a good point per minute guy, can do all the peripheral stats. So if Jordan Bell starts, I actually like him for value. And then I'm guessing one of like Nico Mannion or Gary Payton moving in the starting lineup. If Nico Mannion starts, I like him at the flat min price. Rookie, a guy that can stuff a stat sheet, point guard. So like him if he starts. Pascal, I'm not going to go there. He's, been banged up. I'm going to pass there. I'm not going to go to Samaljic either. So main interest, I think, is Jordan Poole and Toscano-Anderson. And then if you're confident in Bazemore minutes, you can go there. Again, I'm a little bit worried he might get limited. And then a couple other guys. Jordan Bell, if he starts, I like him a lot. And Nico Mannion, if he starts, I like him a lot. So keep an eye on that starting lineup for Golden State. That will change some things for me. All right, so I think that's basically it, guys. Let's see. Do we have any more news? Refresh and then get to questions here. Again, guys, it's going to be like a preseason slate. You got to be careful. Some of the veterans on this one, I think it might get limited. Garland will have a minutes limit Friday. Okay, so is he in? Okay, good. Spurs are resting like everyone tomorrow. All right. This is what I wanted to see because I didn't want to deal with the headache of the Cavs. So this is good. Garland will play. Shetty will play. I have basically no interest in these Cavs. Prefer other value on the other teams we just went over. So that is about it, guys. We are at 356 viewers, 100 likes. Thank you. Leave another 10 minutes left for some questions. So let's do it. Yeah, Jordan Bell's back in the Warriors. He's back. I only play him if he starts. If he comes to the bench, I'm not taking the risk. But yeah, if he does start, I'm actually okay rolling the dice on him. How did he go from solid rotation on the Warriors to two-way contract? Yeah, DeLon Wright or Colin Sexton. For me, it's DeLon Wright with Garland in. Favorite team to target? I don't know if there's one team. I think you want to target value in the shorthanded teams. So Memphis, Golden State, the Clippers, but kind of be careful there with the veterans, the Raptors. That's where I'm looking mostly for my value. John Conchar, sleeper. He's for sure playable. I would rather get to Tyus Jones, DeAnthony Melton, and Xavier Tillman. I think are better point per minute guys than Conchar. But yeah, I agree. He will be a sleeper. I would just prefer those other guys. DK, I know it's early, but do you think it's a good read on the slate, or is it? Do you think you have a good read on the slate, or is it crap? I was wondering if I should play lighter today. It's kind of up to your risk tolerance. Like for me, I like these type of slates. I know though there's like chances where like weird stuff can happen. You can play, a younger guy and a short rotation, and maybe he plays limited minutes, and then I'll be tilted. So I think the edge increases, but the variant is a lot more variance. So it's a lot. It depends that, are you a cash game player? If you're a cash game player, I probably wouldn't even touch this slate. If you're a GPP player like myself, I think you're going to like it. Because, yeah, I think there's a bigger edge here. Boucher or NAW in the utility. Depends on the starting lineup. I only play Boucher if he starts. If Boucher does start, might have a slight lean towards him. So much value, don't know where to start. Yeah, and you can definitely leave salary on the table. Don't think you have to use all your money tonight. You don't have to. Wright or Sexton, for me, it's Wright. Bembry in play. Everyone in Toronto's in play. 8-man rotation, and Bane's probably not going to play a ton. Poole or Hayes? Poole. Who do I spend up besides Russ? It's tough, right? I think Luka would probably be the number 2, then Jokic, but there's still a little bit of risk with both. I'm not convinced. First of all, Jokic got blowout risk. I'm not convinced he plays normal minutes. Second, or with Luka, he's basically just got the blowout risk. I think if that game stays close, Luka will play the full minutes. So that's why I would rank Luka ahead of Jokic. This is just because I'm more confident he would play. Yogi or Mannion, I would only play either of them if they... So, like, keep an eye on the starting lineup, right? If neither start, I wouldn't play either. If Mannion starts, go there. It depends on the starting lineup. Do you like Tyler Cook? He's fine. Keep an eye on the starting lineup, though. Do you like Embiid tonight? I'm worried he doesn't play full minutes. Can you play Killian Hayes and Saban Lee together? Yeah, especially if Diallo's out, you can, because Killian Hayes probably played close to 40, and Saban Lee probably plays 35 minutes. So if Diallo's out, yes. If Diallo's in, there's a little bit more risk there. I don't know if I would do it if Diallo's in. Thoughts for GP: Russ, Melton, Kennard, Juan Toscano Anderson, Tillman, Poole, Tyus Jones, KJ Martin. I like that. Yeah, I think that looks really sad. Boucher worth a shot, or does he get limited? I think if he starts, I'm willing to roll the dice in Boucher because they don't have any other options, right? Last game, they technically had 10 healthy bodies when Boucher and Trent were in. Now they only have 8. And you got to, right? They don't want to play Aaron Baines. And so, like, Baines is going to play a ton. That's 7. So that's 7-man rotation, basically, for Toronto, with Baines probably playing 15 to 20 minutes. So unless they just run a 5-man rotation and they rest, like, again, only play Boucher and Trent, they start. But I think they start here, and Boucher is a guy I like, yeah. Cam Oliver or Imani Brooks. If you had the salary or Imani Brooks, just because the minutes, more confident with the minutes there, because Kelly Olynyk is still going to play. So I don't think he's going to play alongside Cam Oliver. Gobert or Sexton for tier. I guess Sexton, I'm more confident that game stays close. Top 3 value plays. There's no top 3 value plays. It's you want to target the shorthanded teams, right? There's a lot of variance in the slate. Ford for 4,500. Again, these questions are going to be tough because there's so many good value that, like, I want to leave. Okay, I'll just say Metu for now. Metu, I think, is the guy I feel the best about. He should play probably 30 or 35 minutes in up-tempo games. I'll go Metu. Okafor is starting. Okay, so with Okafor starting, I think he is definitely in consideration for value. Is Diallo playing? Let's see. Okafor will start. Okay, we don't have news in Diallo. So I think Okafor's in play. My worry there is he's matched up against Nikola Jokic, so there's foul trouble risk. A little bit worried about that. Tyus or Melton, it depends on the starting lineup. If both start, I think it's basically, I don't know. I don't really have a take. If both start, I like both a lot because they're both good point per minute guys. McGee, if he starts again, definitely playable because he's actually a good point per minute guy. The minutes wouldn't be as high in him, but if he starts, yes. Best shooting guard value. Again, like I can't really answer that. I just want to say you target the teams that are shorthanded. That's where we want to focus. So questions like best value, top 3 value plays, I can't really answer that because, again, there's a lot of variance, but you want to target the shorthanded teams. Like, don't target any of the teams that are healthy or the veterans. I'm focusing more on the younger guys. Some low-price guys can go hit Stanley Johnson. Yeah, there's going to be, like, if you're really confident in a super low-owned guy, then you can go there. Juan Toscano Anderson or Metu. I guess if you have the salary, Juan Toscano Anderson, but I like both. Kyrie Thomas, Jordan Poole, MPJ, Luka, Rui, Tillman, and Melton for large field tournaments. I just don't think I fade. In my opinion, you can't fade Westbrook on this slate. Okafor starting. Yep. Russ, Poole, Melton, Tillman, Davis, Metu, Kennard, Jokic. Yeah. So that's the build I like, right? You got the stars and scrubs. You got Russ, Jokic, and then the value. All those value guys look pretty solid to me, right? All younger guys that should play big minutes. Sexton or DeLon Wright. It's DeLon Wright for me. Metu or Juan Toscano Anderson. JTA if you have the salary. I like both though. Raptors or Rockets, like if we're talking about value, depends on who you're talking about. Best point per dollar play, or best, the highest usage player on each team is Boucher and Olynyk. But taking, salary in consideration, right, with the Rockets guys I mentioned, those veterans aren't going to play a ton, and guys like Kellyo, DJ, and Jason Tate's not a veteran, but I don't think he plays a ton. So, like, I think KJ Martin, Kyrie Thomas, Armani Brooks all play close to 40 minutes. I like them all a good amount. Like Cook off the bench or go Okafor. I think I'd roll the dice in Okafor and hope he stays out of foul trouble. I think he's a slightly better point per minute guy, even though he hasn't shown it recently. He's actually a good offensive player. It's kind of been bad, though, recently. Poole or Lee? Do we have Diallo news? We don't have Diallo news yet. I'll say Poole right now. But if Diallo's out, then I think Lee is firmly in play. Yeah, we don't have Diallo news yet. Clippers plays, so it's Luke Kennard, and that's it right now for me. Because I'm not confident that the veterans play big minutes. Why target Luke at all when Kristaps is playing? Because points matter on the slate, raw points matter, and Luka, even in 3 quarters, can go for 50. Bay viable tonight. I just think I'd rather get to other mid-range plays. Bazemore or Harkless. Those are 2 I'm worried about. I would rather have Bazemore as the better point per minute guy, but I'm just a little worried he might get limited minutes. Westcoat, don't get cute. Yeah, you don't fade Westbrook on the slate. Thoughts on Bembry? Should play big minutes. Below 4K, good value. Top spend up or one tonight for UDK. Top spend ups, it's Westbrook. Westbrook far and away. Every other star has some risk. Embiid limited minutes. Jokic limited minutes. Luka possibly limited minutes. All 3 are in potential blowouts. So, yeah, it's a tough one, right? Armani Brooks, I like those Rockets guys. I like KJ, Armani Brooks, Kyrie Thomas. They should all play big minutes. Kennard, Bazemore, or Bane. I'll say Kennard. Boucher or KJ Martin, that's a close one. Those are 2 I like a good amount because if Boucher starts, I think he gets big minutes. KJ's been phenomenal. I'll say KJ at the moment, but if Boucher starts, that's basic coin flip. Thoughts on NAW? He's my favorite Pelican. He's a young guy. He played 35 minutes last game. I'm worried about Bledsoe's minutes. I'm worried about James Johnson's minutes in a meaningless game. If I'm going to roll the dice in someone on the Pelicans, it's NAW. Russ, Poole, Winslow, KJ Martin, Embiid, Tyus Jones, Wamsley Anderson, and Tillman. Winslow. He's behind a lot of other guys for me for Memphis. Luke Kennard blows. If the situation is how I think it's going to go and the veterans don't play a ton, he's going to play massive minutes in a good matchup. Tillman or Okafor, I think I'm more confident in Tillman because foul trouble risk against Jokic for Okafor. Thoughts on Isaac Okoro? Not for me with both Chetty and Garland in. 4,400 for utility. Yeah, it's probably Metu then. He's at 43. We got Poole 41. Yeah, like you got a ton of options. All right, let me go to utility. Again, focus on young guys and guys that are going to have a lot of opportunity and like guys that can produce, a good point per minute guy. So like, again, Poole's going to get a ton of shot attempts up. Like Metu's going to play big minutes. I think you go one of those 2 guys. Replace Winslow with Kennard. I would feel more confident with Kennard. Playing FanDuel tonight, money isn't an issue. Wright or Doncic? Westbrook's the other point guard. Doncic then. Doncic because if that game stays close, he has more upside than Wright. Fade Kennard, go ahead, LL. He plays 35 minutes, will be optimal. Yeah, I think Kennard is my favorite play on the Clippers because I'm the most confident in his minutes. Okay, so weird stuff can happen. You never know, right? Maybe Ty Lue plays Marcus Morris and Rondo big minutes, and then Kennard doesn't look as good. And obviously, I would be tilted because that's not what you think is going to happen. That's not the smart thing, but it's possible. Coaches are dumb, right? Look at Scott Brooks. I need power forward 3,400, not in Golden State late game. So, what, in the New Orleans Golden State game? That only? I think you'd roll the dice on Jordan Bell if he starts. All right, guys, let me refresh one more time, and then I will get out of here. Again, this is going to be a fun one, but there's a lot of variance involved. So if you're a cash game player, I would take the day off. For GPPs, though, I think there's a pretty big edge here. Target the shorthanded teams. Target the young guys in meaningless games, right? Be careful of some of the veterans, like some of those guys in the Clippers, like Marcus Morris and Rondo, not convinced they get full minutes. There's also some risk with basically every other star besides Westbrook. Luka blowout risk. Jokic blowout risk, possibly limited minutes. Embiid blowout risk, possibly limited minutes. So again, just trend carefully with those guys. And that is going to do it for me. So enjoy the rest of your Friday. I'll be back here as always tomorrow to talk about Saturday's slate. So I will see you guys all then.